Hey there, it's Kamisha Brewer Dickerson with the CEO Clinician podcast, where we teach new and emerging leaders how to be mentally healthy as you're doing business. During this show, you will hear stories about leadership and running a business effectively. I'll show you how I was able to transition from being an underpaid, overworked clinician to becoming the CEO clinician with a thriving private practice, a speaking and coaching business with multiple streams of income while working through grief and anxiety. You'll also hear from our incredible guests on how they were able to successfully build their businesses while facing mental health challenges of their own. Their stories are unbelievable. If you want to learn how to be mentally healthy as you're doing business, listen to this podcast and then head over to cbrewerconsulting.com to grab a copy of my book and learn how to work with us. Ready to hear the episode? Let's get started. Hey there, welcome to another episode of the CEO Clinician podcast. And in today's episode, we are talking about how to have fun in your private practice, how to have fun in your private practice. And I do recognize that for many of you, especially if this is your first time listening to me, this is a very interesting way to start our relationship together through the podcast. But the way I approach this podcast and the platform and the opportunity to be in your ear is through bringing you somewhat controversial conversations and topics because I feel like they need to be discussed. So, when it comes to just having fun in private practice, I personally don't think this is a topic that is talked about enough. What normally happens is there's focus on all the negative things and all the cons of private practice. And so, with that being the focus, I feel like there's a missed opportunity to experience fun and pleasure and joy in private practice. And so, to help shift you and to help you reframe the way you think about your private practice, if you haven't been thinking about it, I want to introduce the concept of fun and recreation and joy and pleasure in private practice to you as the listener of this episode. So, here we go. Buckle up. Let's do this. So, if you're not thinking about having fun in private practice, you are missing out. I think you are selling yourself short and you are doing yourself a disservice because, believe it or not, whatever you're focused on, that's what you'll feed. And whatever you feed, that is what you will focus on. So, if you're constantly approaching the idea of private practice, those of you that are just getting started, you're in it, you're scaling, you're headed toward retirement, you're ready to sell your practice, wherever you are in the journey, if you're focusing on stress, then private practice is going to be stressful. If you're focusing on, oh, I have to make money, I have to make money, I hope I get enough clients, I hope I get enough referrals, I hope Psychology Today sends me people, I hope Google Business sends me this, I hope all these other things, and all you're thinking about is the money and paying your bills, you're missing out on the funsies. If all you're thinking about is insurance and submitting claims and claims getting rejected or denied or there being an audit, and I'm telling y'all, some of y'all need to be audited because but y'all don't act right. Like honestly, y'all don't keep up with your documentation and you're seeing way too many clients and you can't keep up, but you keep doing it anyway. And that's how you end up in a hole being 2 and 3 weeks behind on your documentation. Like this is literally the reason why audits are even in places for accountability. But if that's all you're focused on and you're fearful of that, you're missing out on fun. If you're focusing on continuing education, we know we need them. It's part of the business. It's the way we keep our licensure. But if that is your focus, you are missing out on the fun. So let's talk about the fun because I want to be really intentional with our conversation, and I don't want you guys to ever be one-sided in your private practice. Like I teach therapists how to be, well-rounded, multifaceted, and to be able to navigate different spaces with confidence. And some of the spaces that need to be navigated are the fun sides and the cool and creative things that you can do. So I want to teach you guys a different approach to the concept of having fun in private practice. I want to teach you how to go about it in your own way. I really believe, and I teach this through the CEO framework and curriculum, that therapists need to approach private practice in a way that works for them. They need to approach private practice in a way that makes sense, in a way that feels authentic to who you are and to your skill sets, but also allows you to serve in the highest capacity, get your needs met, meet the needs of your clients, be very efficient in the field, build out good relationships. Like you need to do all of that, but you're not going to be able to do that in a way that everybody else is doing it, right? So if you need to go against the grain and against the norm of what other therapists are doing in the industry, do that. Stay ethical, of course. Don't do anything illegal, but it's okay to do out of the box therapy. And sometimes when you start doing out of the box therapy, that's when you start having fun. I'm an out of the box kind of therapist, which is why agency life didn't work for me because I felt restricted. We had corporate regulations, caseload was too high. There wasn't a lot of opportunities to have fun. So the fun days ended up being Fridays for groups because nobody wanted to do therapy. The therapists, we didn't want to do therapy. The patients that were in the facility, they didn't want to do therapy either. So it's all right, let's make Friday a fun day. But that shouldn't be, in my opinion, like the last resort. It's the end of the week. We're all exhausted. Let's just get this over, get to the weekend. But I think it's important to create fun and activities and things that bring you joy and bring you really good energy to your private practice. Okay. So, those of you that missed it, let me tell you about what you just missed. I just did a training. We did another 3-day challenge and it was amazing. So, we got a chance to enroll more new therapists into our 8-week program, Private Practice Ready. So, over the next 60 days, they will be working with me to get their practice set up, structured, and marketed. And so what we did was we added a bonus training called How to Be Creative and Not Just Clinical, right? And this is a brand new training. I had never done it. I'm not going to teach it to y'all now, but those of y'all that decide to work with me, you will get access to it because it's in our bonus suite with some other really amazing trainings and resources. But the reason it is so important to be creative and not just clinical is that whenever you're adding things, new things, and you're trying new things and you're testing it out, it helps you to grow as a leader. It helps you to grow as a business owner. It helps you to grow as a CEO. And it helps you to always be open to new things to come into your life, to new things to come into your practice, for new relationships and new connections to be formed. So if you have been a solo private practice owner and you've been doing therapy for a while, or even if it's not in your own private practice, but you've been doing one-on-one therapy in your agency for a long time, and now you're looking to transition to private practice, go ahead and try groups. Go ahead and try intensives. Go ahead and try workshops. Go ahead and try any kind of training sessions or master classes. Try it just to see if you can market it, just to see, if there's a need for it. Do your market research, just to see if people want it, just to see if you like it, if you can monetize it, to see if you can build other things on top of it and on the back of it. So see if you can write a book that goes with your training, to see if you can write a workbook that goes with your training, to see if you can write an ebook. Now, let's go here. Let me tell y'all something about ebooks real quick. Ebooks typically are not designed to be your end all be all product because I mean it's a PDF download. Typically they're used as a lead magnet. So some of you guys are like, oh, I want to write an ebook, and your ebook is like 197 pages. That's an actual book, like a book, a real book that needs an ISBN number, needs to be published and sold. Like that's a completely different it's a completely different thing. So don't get caught up in that. But if you're going to do a training, do your best to see what all you can do, what other services and additional resources you can add to support the people that you serve, to increase your expertise and to position you as an authority and an expert in the field. So try it, try to add new services and just see what happens. But some of you guys, you have to push past your fear and rejection and fear that people won't like it and fear that people won't buy it and fear that it just won't work, because you're not really going to know if it's going to work or not until you try it. And that is true across the board in all kinds of industries. You don't know until you try. So try that new service, add group, do something different, do an intensive, create a PDF worksheet to go with the training, create a questionnaire, but create something and move beyond just the clinical. Another thing you can do to help you to have fun in your private practice is try adding new software systems, try adding new email marketing systems, try adding new EHR systems, try adding new schedulers for booking calls, for people to be able, you can do video consultations. All of them don't have to be phone consultations. Those of you that like to pre-screen a client before you start services with them, try all of those different tools and softwares to see what works for you, to see what you can streamline, to see what you can automate, and just do it. Try the software, try to do a podcast, try to do a live video series, try to Do something beyond what you have always done. And the reason for that is you need fun in your practice, but you also need creativity where, once you start building an audience, people are constantly coming to your page like, ooh, I wonder what they're doing this week. Ooh, I wonder when their next training is. Ooh, they had a live event. They had really good videos and pictures. I wonder when the next one is because I want to make sure I put it on my calendar and I get my ticket so I can be there. But if you're not doing those things and you're not staying relevant in the market, it's not going to be fun. It's going to feel sometimes worse than your job because you have to be on top of all of the moving pieces of operations and leadership and marketing and HR and payroll and accounting. Like you're all the things in your practice when you first start out. But when you're adding new things to it, it helps you to have fun in your private practice. So another thing I want to share with you guys is that you need to add new people, right? So we need to add new services. We need to add new software systems to make this thing work. But you also need to add new people to your circle. And when I say add new people, they can be people that are in the industry. They can be other mental health professionals, pre-licensed interns, supervisors, like all the titles, but I highly recommend you to build relationships and connections with people who are not in the industry. Like it's okay to have a great relationship with someone who does brand development or website design, someone who teaches how to run paid ads, someone who teaches you how to write a book, someone who is an accountant, someone who's a bookkeeper, someone who's a CPA, someone who's a real estate agent, someone who is an event planner, someone who is a DJ. Like it doesn't matter because we have the opportunity as licensed mental health professionals to take mental health conversations into any industry and into any area. And that's a huge part of what I teach in the CEO Clinician framework is teaching therapists how to get out of the box. All of your networking should not be with other therapists because I think you're missing out on opportunities. I think you're missing out on fun and you're missing out on just really unique and creative ways to introduce who you are and what you do and the services you provide to other people who are not in the industry. Okay. So whenever you're adding new services, you're adding new software, you're adding new people in the industry and outside of the industry, you will find yourself with the perfect recipe to start having fun in your practice because when you change your mindset, right, and you change the way you think, you change the way you see your business, you change the way you see yourself running a business, and that is a completely different episode for another day. But when those things start changing and those things start shifting, nothing is ever the same after that. Like you are forever changed. Every new person who comes into your life, you're like, I wonder how we can collaborate. I wonder what we could do together. I wonder if this would be beneficial to my clients. I wonder what I could do in my city, in my community, where this would be beneficial for me and this other person to both do what we do, but still meet mental health needs in the area that we're serving or in the area that we're doing business. When you start thinking like that, you'll start making more money. You'll start having a larger impact. You'll start pushing yourself beyond what you thought you could actually do through your business, but you'll also feel like you're having fun because there's always creativity, there's always an angle, there's always an opportunity. And in my experience, what I have seen is the therapists who feel like their income is capped or they feel like they don't know what else to do, they can't make any more money, like they're just at a dead end space. It's because they've bottlenecked something. It could be resources, it could be creativity, it could be fun, it could be a combination of all of those things. But I need you to write this down, put it in your notes for the podcast listeners who take notes. Boredom is also a path to burnout. Okay. Boredom is also a path to burnout. It's not just about, oh, I see too many clients. It's not just about, oh, I work long days because I have children or we're co parenting. And on the weeks I have my kids, I can't do this and I can't do that. And that's why I'm tired. That's why I'm burnt out. Like that's part of it. I understand that. But you can also feel like that if you have a slower paced life with less obligations and less responsibilities, you're just doing the same thing all day, every day, like a robot. Like that is not why most of us signed up, right? We signed up to be able to help people, to be creative, to help people in a new way, to challenge some of the corporate norms or to challenge some of the ways that big pharmaceutical companies and insurance companies have restricted us from providing patient care and providing mental health treatment and assessing the needs of the people we serve. We signed up to challenge those things. We signed up to advocate for those things. We signed up to provide psychoeducation and to empower our communities and to be a voice to the people who have no voice or whose voices have been silenced. We signed up to do that. And so if you're going to sign up to do that, crazy folks that are crazy like me. If you're going to sign up to do that, you need to take advantage of the opportunity and have fun while you're doing it. Because what also comes with this being in the field, like you're going to have people talk about you. You're going to have people who block your post in a Facebook group. I recently just had that happen, and I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't being spammy. I was literally just trying to help and share my free resources. But someone else got to share their free resources in the same group. It's not a problem. I won't shout them out. I won't tell you who it was, but it did happen, and that's a part of the field, right? You're going to have people who don't like you. You're going to have people who block you. You're going to have people who talk about you. You're going to have people who don't call you to speak. You're going to have people who don't show up to your events. You're going to have people who don't send you referrals. So, like, when you're dealing with all of the back end heaviness that could totally be the perfect breeding ground for imposter syndrome, for feeling like you're not cut out to do therapy, for feeling like you should change careers and go back to case management, or you should just work and do utilization review for insurance companies. Like when you start having all of those thoughts, I want you to check your fun level. See where you're at, see what type of fun, creative injections you can inject into your practice to where you know that you're grounded, you're anchored, you're built for this. You're going to make it fun. You know what you signed up for. You know that some days this is going to be hard. Some days you're going to have clients that are not making progress. Some days you're going to have clients who are totally regressing. Not that they're starting over from square one, but they had a really good handle on their anxiety. And then the next 3 sessions, it is tears and panic attacks. And now you're like, oh my God, am I helping or am I not? When you're having those moments, check your fun meter. Okay. See what you need to do. Sometimes you need to take a break. You need to reset. Sometimes you need to go to a training that allows you to be around other entrepreneurs. It may not even have to be other therapists, but sometimes just being around other people that are like, okay, what are you doing in your business? Is that working for you? How does that feel? Did you try that software system? Oh, I heard this was really good. I'm going to look into it. I'm going to do the trial. Like just do something to where you can get fun back into your private practice, because the work we do is so heavy, but it's so meaningful. It's so rewarding. It's life changing if you can find the fun. And if you can't find it, go create it and make fun happen in your private practice. So if you listen to this podcast and you're like, okay, Cameisha, everything you said today resonated with me in some way. I definitely connected to what you said. I want to tell you 3 ways that I can support you in building out your private practice journey. So if you're a brand new therapist and you're just getting started, you're trying to figure out business, marketing, forms, getting your business registered with the Secretary of State, like getting all your things in place to be able to see clients safely and legally and ethically, then the program we have for you is called Private Practice Ready. And if you are beyond that point and you're like, okay, I'm past private practice ready, I already have it, it's up and running, but I don't know what to do next. I need insurance. I need a CPA. I think I need to start looking to make my first hire. I need to get a grip on social media and marketing and branding and content creation. Then the program for you is the Vault membership program. So it is a membership style group coaching program where we are bringing in other experts to come in and speak to you and to train you and to coach you. You'll also get a second call with me for implementation and strategy and feedback. I'll be able to give you audits on the things that you're doing in your practice, and it's an amazing experience. And so if you are listening to this podcast and that's where you're at and you're ready to scale, you're ready to do some major business development training, you need to take advantage of the early bird rate for that program. It is currently at $347 a month for 6 months, and the price is going to go up. Okay. So if you know you need this, get in and grab one of those early bird spots. We're going to get started in October, but if you know you need this, make sure you get that. Now, if you're past that and you're like, Cameisha, I don't want to do the group thing, I want to work with you one-on-one, then the program for you is the CEO Clinician VIP program. So you get to work with me for 12 weeks. I get to look at your practice inside and out, help you to get more structured, more organized, get on top of all the moving parts in your practice, grow, scale, get you positioned in the market. We can look at speaking engagements, figuring out what's next for you as far as like writing a book, building a course, scaling through digital products. Like that is the program for you if you want to work with me one-on-one and you're already established. So those are the 3 ways we can support you. Make sure you continue to listen to the podcast and make sure you share this out with another therapist who needs it. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you in the next episode.